Good morning, Geo Metro Ninjas, and welcome to another awesome day of Virtual Mr. Coach. Today we're going to get off of our lines and start talking about something pointless. No, I don't mean something that's not worth our time, but rather a circle. I will wait for your laughter. So today we're talking about the equation of a circle and how we can use it to help us graph our circles and also garnish any important information such as the center, the radius, or even a point located on our circle. So when you look at our equation here, and we've got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is known as standard form of a circle. Just like we had slope-intercept form, so if you remember y equals mx plus b, this was the easiest to graph a line out of. Standard form is the easiest to graph our circle out of. So when we look at our standard form, we've got a couple of letters that we're going to address, h and k. Now, when we look at h and k, I want you to notice inside our parentheses, our original h and k, whatever you see as a center or whatever you see in the equation, is going to be the opposite of what it looks like. So h and k is the center of our circle. Okay? It is going to be the center, where we put our middle point before we count out our radius. X and Y is a point on the circle. Most of the time, X and Y are just going to be unknown constants that we just let be the whole time. And then lastly, R, our radius, it's always squared when represented in the graph, but R is our radius, the distance from the center to a point on the circle. And then remember, if we think back to Unit 6, it is always equidistant. So every radius will always be congruent if we're in the same circle. Okay. So we're going to do a couple of examples. We're going to take our equation, our given standard form, and we're going to figure out our center and our radius. So I love that they start us off with one that doesn't have anything. Okay? So we've got x squared plus y squared. But if we look back at our equation, x minus h plus y minus k, well, where is the h and k? Well, in mathematics, we represent not being there with the value 0. So the center of our circle is a coordinate point of 0, 0. That means our center is on the origin. And then our radius is the square root of 25, which equals 5. So remember, the n number here is always squared in the equation, so we've got to unsquare it. We've got to square root it in our formula. So here we go. We got plus 8 for my h, negative 3 for my k. Remember, whatever we see inside of our equation, it's going to be the opposite. So instead of positive 8, it's really negative 8. And instead of negative 3, it's positive 3. And I'm going to show you guys why that happened. So if I were to take, so we're going to use our centers, negative 8, 3. And I put it in here. So x minus squared, y minus squared. That is our always true. That's always what's going to happen. And if I take my center of negative 8 and my center of positive 3 and plug them in, well, when we apply double negative makes a positive, we end up with x plus 8 y minus 3. So, guys, that's why our equation has a negative. So if whatever I see is going to make a positive. Right? So the radius, square root of our last number. So the square root of 100 is 10. So we've got negative 4, and then we just got a y squared. Remember, if it doesn't exist, we're just going to go with it as a 0. So negative 4 is really positive 4. And then our radius is the square root of 1, which of course is 1. Sorry guys, you didn't see it on the screen. That's my fault. Looking at the next one, negative 5, positive 1. So our center is 5, negative 1. And then our radius is the square root of 144, which is 12. I got a 0 and a positive 2. So 0 and then negative. If whatever I see inside of that parentheses, it's going to be the opposite. Radius is square root of 18. If we make our factor tree, I know that's everybody's favorite, 9 and 2. Breaks down to 3 and 3. Pairs get to come out. And 2 ain't got no buddy, so he gets to stay inside. And our last one, 0, 0. If it's not there, it's 0. And then our radius is the square root of 16, which is 4. So that's going from if they give us my equation all the way down to if we have our, we can find everything we need. Now they're going to give me my points and I'm going to plug it in. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to make a skeleton. I'm going to make a skeleton that I can just copy and paste, and I'll be able to plug it in every time. Let's resize that rascal, though. What do you think? That's pretty good right there. All right, so that's our skeleton. That's the same skeleton I'm going to use every one of these equations. Okay. So they gave me H, K, and R. So H is 0, K is 0, and R is 4. And I guess I need to add that to my skeleton, right? Because we need to square that radius. Well, we don't have to write that H and K, so I've just got x squared plus y squared equals 16. So they gave us a center of 2, negative 3 and a radius of 15. So H, K, and R. So 2, negative 3, and 15 squared. Just clean it up now. So x minus 2 squared, y plus 3 squared, and then 15 squared is 225. Drop our skeleton in again. Guys, you could even do this for your homework tonight. Just take your paper and just fill that out every time. So we've got h of negative 7, k of 0, and a radius of 10. So negative 7, 0, and 10 squared. Clean it up. So we got x plus 7. We've got a 0, so we don't got to write that in there. It's an understood. And then 10 squared is 100. So H, K, and R. -5, -1, and 2 squared. Y plus 1 squared, and then 2 squared is 4. H, K, and R. So we got 0, 0, and 1 squared. Guys, when you see a center on the origin, just get excited because half your job is already finished. X squared plus y squared equals 1. And then finally we've got 4, 8, so H is 4, K is 8, and R is 22. Let's see if I know that one off the top of my head. So X minus 4, Y minus 8, and 22 squared. Clean it up, make it look pretty. What is that, 448, 484? Little dyslexic moment. So guys, that's going from getting your pieces from a given equation or taking your given pieces and making an equation. Now, here comes the fun part. Let's graph these guys. And you're going to enjoy graphing because of how easy it is. All right? Just like point-slope form where you take your point, you plot your y-intercept, and then you count your slope. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ID our pieces. Okay? And that is our center and radius. Second, we are going to graph our center point. Pretty simple, right? We're going to graph our center. Remember, that's HK. And then you're going to count the radius. And then I got a little jingle here. We're going to count our radius up, down, left, and right. Up, down, left, and right. Count that radius with all your might. Say up, down, left, and right. Count that radius with all your might. So let's test it. So I'm going to identify in the given equation. So they told me that x minus 1, y minus 1, and 9. So my center is 1, 1. Because remember, guys, this is h, and this is k. And then this joker over here is r squared. So my center is 1, 1, and my radius is the square root of 9, which is 3. So we're going to come to our circle. And we're going to plot 1, 1. That's the center of my circle. And then I'm going to count 3 units up. 1, 2, 3. 3 units down. 1, 2, 3. 3 units left. 1, 2, 3. And 3 units right. 1, 2, 3. Now I've got this honky looking thing here. And boom! We've got a circle. So graphing a circle is awesome. ID your pieces, your center and your radius. Graph the center, count the radius. It's just like point-slope form. Graph your y-intercept, count your other things. So we've got to identify our center first. So this time they gave us the graph. I want us to work backwards. So our center is -1, 0. And if I want to count the radius, it doesn't matter if I go, probably help if I was on the picture, right guys? It doesn't matter if I count up, count sideways, count left, count down. All we're going to do is I'm going to see how far is it from the center to a vertical or horizontal point on my circle. And the reason we do vertical or horizontal is that way we don't have to do the distance formula. If I do vertical or horizontal, I can just count boxes. So I've got 1, 2, which means the radius of my circle is 2. Pop our skeleton in there. Oh, that almost fit too perfectly. So we've got 2 squared My k value is 0. And my x value is -1. So our answer is x plus 1 squared plus y squared equals 4. All right, guys, that's graphing circles. Knock out your My Math Lab, and we'll get after it again tomorrow. Love you guys. Miss you guys.